Hi, I'm Pastor Freda, pastor of Seaman Memorial Lutheran Church and chaplain of Passivant Community. We've been moving along in Holy Week, taking the journey to the cross with Christ. We are going to now move in and talk about the trial. Jesus was arrested and taken before the chief priests, Caiaphas, and they find him guilty of blasphemy because he claims to be the Son of God. So they sent him to a Roman procurator, Pontius Pilate. Pilate talks to Jesus. Jesus doesn't really say much to Pilate in response to his questions. And Pilate says, "Are you the king of the Jews? You have said so." Pilate doesn't find any reason to find Jesus guilty and sentence him to crucifixion. But the people, there's a law that says that a prisoner can be released as a sign of goodwill for the Passover. And there happened to be two prisoners, Jesus and Barabbas, a man who was guilty of murder and insurrection. So Pilate says, "Okay, who do you want me to free for you? The one who claims to be the king of the Jews, or this person guilty of murder and insurrection?" And the crowd was so stirred up, and they yelled, "Barabbas! Barabbas!" And Pilate said, "Well, what do you want me to do with Jesus?" And the crowd, who had been singing his praises at the beginning of the week, who said, "Hosanna in the highest, blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord," some of those same people were saying, "Crucify him." And Pilate had no choice. He was afraid that if he didn't go along with the crowd, they could revolt. And so Jesus was sentenced to be crucified, the most cruel and humiliating death known to man at the time. He was beaten, and he was humiliated, and then he had to make his way up the hill to Golgotha, the place of the skull, and he hung there for 3 long hours. They put nails in his hands and in his feet so that he would stay on the cross. As he was hanging there, it became harder and harder for him to breathe. And yet, even as he was suffering on the cross, he reached out to the people, and he said certain things from the cross that fulfilled Scripture, even at the end. And he said, "Father, forgive them, for they know not what they're doing." He was between 2 thieves. And one of the thieves said, "Well, why don't you do something? If you are the Son of God, save yourself, and while you're at it, save us too." And the other thief said to the other criminal, "Don't you fear God? We are getting what we deserve for our crimes, but this man has done nothing." And this thief asked Jesus, "Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom." And Jesus said, "Truly I tell you today, you will be with me in paradise." And then Jesus said, "Into your hands I commend my spirit." And he breathed his last. And they had to bring the bodies down. And there were witnesses to the crucifixion. I can't imagine how Jesus' mother and others who were there felt watching him suffer and die on the cross. So to make sure that those who had been crucified were dead, the guards, soldiers were instructed to break the person's legs. Well, when they got to Jesus, they realized that he had already died. And so instead of breaking his legs, they took a spear and they pierced his side, and blood and water came out. And one of the centurions there said, "Truly this was the Son of God." And they took his body down. And Joseph of Arimathea went to Pilate and asked if he could have the body. And Pilate granted him that. And they took his body and they put it in a grave that had never been used. And they placed a huge stone in front of the tomb. And we will continue the story next time. Peace and blessings.